Hey everyone, I'm Alice from Alice'sAdventuresOnEarth.com. Today I'm sharing 12 of my favorite things to do in Mexico City. Now, over the last 2 years, I've had the unique opportunity to spend several months in Mexico City, and I must say there are so many great things to do. This is such a fantastic city, and despite the unpopular opinion that it's a dangerous place to go, I find that it is a fantastic city for solo travelers, families, and groups alike. There are so many fantastic things to eat here. It's one of the best cities if you're a foodie. There are fantastic historical and cultural tours, lots of great day tours, so much color and vibrancy in this city too if you're just looking for great photographs. But I'm going to be sharing 12 of my best things to do in the city coming right up. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up.
Today we're in an area of Mexico City called Teotihuacan. Now this is quite a ways south from where I'm staying here in Mexico City, but it's here that the Frida Kahlo Museum and the Diego Rivera House are, which we're going to go see right now.
The Frida Kahlo Museum is an essential stop for any culture lovers that are visiting Mexico City. The famous home of the artist and her husband Diego Rivera, aka the Blue House, features original works of art, Frida's studio, and numerous pieces of clothing from her closet. Now, while videotaping inside the studio is not allowed, you are sure to walk away with some new knowledge of Frida and her famous muralist husband and their pivotal role in art and politics. You will absolutely need to book this experience in advance, as this tour is one of the most popular things to do in Mexico City, and tickets sell out months in advance.
I just left the Frida Museum, and I have to say I had no idea how little I knew about Frida Kahlo and Diego Rivera. I remember reading about them as a kid, but really didn't know the full extent of her life and how awesome her fashion was. So I really enjoyed learning all the things about not only her art and her life, but seeing all the beautifully displayed drawings and paintings and some of her outfits as well.
After leaving the museum, a walk through the area of Teotihuacan is highly recommended, with a stop to look at the parish of San Juan Bautista, which was built between 1520 and 1555 and is one of the oldest parish churches in Mexico City. One of my favorite places in the city was definitely the Bosque de Chapultepec.
Right now I'm at the Bosque de Chapultepec. Now this is the largest urban park in Mexico City, and it's absolutely massive. It also houses several of the city's museums, like the National History Museum, the Museum of Modern Art, and a castle, as well as a lake. Sundays are extremely busy here in the Bosque, and most of it is filled with all kinds of shops. You can find anything from sunglasses and umbrellas here to henna tattoos, plenty of food, and lots to shop. If you guys follow my other channel, Nature News, you probably saw my video on subsidence and the fact that Mexico City actually used to sit on a lake. Well, there's not much left of that lake, but here in the Bosque, you can actually still see a little bit that they've actually preserved here. You can paddle some boats around here and sit and enjoy some of the wildlife.
Another place in the park you have to visit is the presidential palace, Chapultepec Castle.
Today we're going to the Castillo de Chapultepec, and I'm really excited. This is actually a castle. It's located here in the big city park, and it's only open on Wednesdays and Saturdays, so this is my first chance I've actually gotten to come here. It's about 80 pesos to get in, and I think you're gonna love the views.
This site was actually a sacred place to the Aztecs, and the building itself has had many uses over the last 2.5 centuries since it was built. It now acts as the National Museum of History, and I learned a ton about the history of Mexico while touring this castle. I also marveled at the stunning views, the historic carriages, and the beautiful art that was contained within. Keep in mind that most of the signage in this museum is written in Spanish, so if you're going to any of the museums in Mexico City, bring a handy translator with you that's downloaded on your phone if you don't speak Spanish.
I'm learning a ton about the history of Mexico here and all of the different kings and queens that tried to take over the government here over the last couple of hundred years, including one of the princes of Austria who came to be king here for just 3 years and was later executed. But one of the best parts about this castle, where plenty of kings, queens, and dignitaries have stayed, is the views over Mexico City.
Across from the Bosque de Chapultepec and right along the Paseo Reforma is the National Museum of Anthropology. And this is a museum you definitely won't want to miss. Now, as you enter the museum, you pass by this fantastic waterfall feature that stops every visitor in their tracks as you make your way towards the exhibits. This museum contains the world's largest collection of ancient Mexican art and ancient artifacts from its early indigenous inhabitants. There are also ethnographic exhibits showcasing the history of man and early Mexico. Here you will also find reproductions of some of the area's most famous Mesoamerican cities like Teotihuacan and the famous Aztec sunstone, which was once believed to be the Aztec calendar.
If you're looking for artisan goods and locally made wares, then you want to come to Bazaar de Sábado. Now, this is a market that's only on Saturdays, and there are dozens and dozens of local artisans, artists, painters, and all kinds of unique crafts here that you can get. I'm having a great time, and there are also tons of restaurants in this area, art galleries, and lots more.
On Saturdays, when this bazaar happens, this area comes alive with artisanal shops, food stalls, art, crafts, and antiquities from all over Mexico. And nearby this area, you'll find bustling restaurants, shops, and great architecture too. Another area of the city you have to explore is the historic center of Zocalo. This is officially known as the Plaza de Constitution, and it's the main square and historic heart of Mexico City. It holds immense political, cultural, and historical significance to the city and the indigenous population as well, holding several of the government buildings as well as museums, cathedrals, the National Palace, and the ruins of the Templo Mayor, which is an ancient Aztec ruin that the city was actually built on top of. Now, this area is fantastic for walking. It's also surrounded by tons of shopping. You'll also find the Palacio de Bellas Arts, which is the opera in this area. And if you're visiting Mexico City, it's an absolute must, not only to just explore on foot, but if you're looking for shopping or great restaurants, it's also great as well. This next one is not usually on my nightly agenda, but it was a ton of fun. Now, in America, we have the WWE, and Mexico has Lucha Libre. And on my second visit to the city, this was something we just had to check off our bucket list. Lucha Libre is hugely popular in Mexico, and luchadors have huge cult followings, much like professional athletes. Now, these matches are almost every night of the week at either the Arena Mexico or some of the other locations around town as well, and it's certainly a fun way to spend the evening. If you're looking for day tours, there are a few that I absolutely loved. One of my favorites was a fun, relaxing way to spend the day is in the colorful borough of Xochimilco. Now, this is where all the flowers in Mexico City come from. It's a UNESCO site, and it's one of the oldest communities in Mexico City.
This river is 120 miles long, and there are two really cool things about this UNESCO site. Number one is that pretty much all the flowers in Mexico City come from this region. I got this awesome flower crown from one of the floating vendors that came by, and the water that we're on right now is actually some of the last remaining water from the lakes that used to surround Mexico City.
And as you go through the canals, all these floating tiendas or stores come by you selling different food, drinks, and souvenirs. It's such a fun way to spend a morning or afternoon, and I highly recommend it for anyone visiting the city. Now, one of the most popular day tours from Mexico is a visit to the ancient UNESCO site of Teotihuacan, aka the Pyramids of the Sun and the Moon. These pyramids were once a powerful center in Mesoamerica, and no one knows exactly who founded them for sure, but it's said that they were abandoned sometime after 650 AD. It takes about an hour to get there from Mexico City and is best accessed by either private tour or, for a real treat, you can book an early morning hot air balloon ride over the pyramids, catching the rising sun over the ancient buildings and the Avenue of the Dead. Now, after your aerial tour, you then get to go to the city on foot and experience the pyramids of the sun and the moon up close. One of my favorite side trips out of Mexico City was to Grutas Tolantongo. Now, it takes about 4 hours to reach this amazing place by small group tour, but it's well worth the drive. Grutas Tolantongo is the largest outdoor hot spring park I have ever visited. I love this place so much. It's owned and operated by the local indigenous population, and it's basically this hot spring oasis. Located on a mountainside, it has a series of cascading hot springs fed by natural warm mineral waters. But that's not all. This outdoor park also has caves, natural steam tunnel, and a hot spring fed river, which is connected to the upper pools by a zip line. Now, you can visit here on a long day trip from the city, or you can even stay a few days at the on-site hotel or campground. Last on this list is food. This is one of my favorite cities in the world for restaurants, and you will not be able to get enough of the great food in Mexico City. It really is a foodie capital city. There are fantastic restaurants of every cuisine, from sushi and Indian to tacos and traditional Mexican food. There are many world-class establishments and some fantastic food tours for both tacos and tequila. So whatever you're looking for in this city, there is definitely a restaurant or a food stall for you. Highly recommend checking out Viator for those food tours. But if you're looking for other options, feel free to drop a comment down below. I also have a blog post on Mexico City and a free downloadable map where you can see some of my favorite places in the city as well. I hope you guys enjoyed this video of some of my favorite places in Mexico City. If you're heading down to Mexico City, please drop a comment down below. Let me know if you've got other questions. I'd be happy to answer them. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up and drop a comment down below. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. I will see you all in the next video. Thank you so much, and never stop exploring.